Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today we're going to be talking about Blackmail by Kerosene fragrances. So stay tuned for that. If you like the content, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me grow my channel, and I do appreciate it a lot. Now, before we get into the content, guys, what's your scent of the day? Mine is Blackmail by Kerosene. So this fragrance I actually got originally as a sample when I first picked up a bottle of Unknown Pleasures. I tried this one out and I immediately loved it. It has such a great scent profile, and I decided that I was actually going to buy it pretty much right away. So I've had a chance to wear this for a while, and I'm going to be talking about this fragrance today. So this fragrance was actually a store exclusive. There's a store called Blackmail. Now, I believe it went out of business or something like that, and now this is exclusively available online on the online store. So if you are trying to figure out how to get this one, the online store is your best bet. Now, like all Kerosene fragrances, it comes in this nice bottle. I really do like the gold plaque with the indented lettering. It just has this rustic feel to it that I really enjoy. I guess it reminds me a little bit of things like metalworking and other things like that, which I find quite interesting. The bottle otherwise is the same, and do be careful with the cap. It comes off quite easily, so you're not going to be picking up the bottle by this cap. This one features notes of raspberry, plum, oud, musk, vanilla, sandalwood, and amber. So what this one actually ends up smelling a lot like is very incense forward. The incense in this one is a little bit harder to describe. It comes off very smoky. It comes off a little bit like there's actually burning embers. I really can kind of detect that feeling when I'm smelling this fragrance. And if you're familiar with fragrances like Interlude Man that are very incense heavy, this doesn't smell anything like that fragrance. So that one is a lot more to me like a church, gothic church kind of an incense, and it really gives off that vibe and that feeling. This comes off more like a very smoky incense with a really nice sort of ambery quality underneath that. Now, this also is balanced out with the fact that it has oud, and something about the incense makes it seem a little bit spicy, although there are no spices in this. Definitely doesn't come off very peppery or very heavy in like cardamom or something like that. So it does just have this sort of crackling ember kind of spicy vibe to it. The oud, as I've mentioned before, if you've heard me talk about this one before, does remind me a lot of the oud that's in Tom Ford Oud Wood. And so it's a very easy to wear oud. It's not like skanky or animalic. It just has a woody quality to it that has a little bit of a depth, and it does certainly add a lot of nice character. So maybe the whole vibe comes off a little bit like a very smoky, almost burning oud. Now there is raspberry, there is plum, there is vanilla that gives this a little bit of sweetness, and it's actually a really nice quality because underneath that incense and that oud you get a nice hint of sweetness. I don't find this one to be particularly sweet. It's not overpoweringly sweet, but it does add a nice character to it, a nice dimension, and in fact I find it adds a very nice surprise because at first it doesn't start off particularly sweet to my nose. I get a huge burst of that incense, and the sweetness starts to creep up a little bit. And as you wear it a little bit longer, that sweetness comes out a little bit more. Now it does, to my nose, again, always play a back role, a back seat to the incense, to the woodiness, but it's definitely there, and it definitely adds a very nice quality. One of the things that also really attracted me to this fragrance, the first time I wore it, I got around 12 hours of longevity. I got one of the little samplers with it. I just put a little bit on my hand, and it lasts a really, really long time. And it has very strong sillage for the first 2 hours or so. So this one is one that I don't go nose blind to. It definitely smells very strongly on my skin if my hand is moving around, or if I spray it on my neck as I move my head around, I definitely get whiffs of this fragrance. So it does definitely have that quality, and for what you're paying, you get value, I feel, because it has great sillage. Projection is also fairly strong. I mean, this one is not super beast mode. This isn't like Interlude Man, for example, which is going to fill a huge room. But this one is not a slouch by any means. It has a very nice scent cloud around you, and it doesn't really, to my nose at least, turn into a complete skin scent until much, much, much later in the fragrance. So this one has very nice performance and very good longevity. Overall, this one has a very nice scent profile. I love that incense. It has a little bit of sweetness in it. It has that sort of crackling ember kind of a vibe, and it works really well. So this one is fairly one-dimensional. It has that smoky incense sweetness kind of a vibe with that oud wood in there. And I don't mind that because I really enjoy this fragrance. So the fact that it doesn't really evolve or change a great deal works well for me. This is what you get basically at the start, and it is what you get basically at the end point. I also sometimes think of this one as, although it smells quite different, sort of a better version of Oud Wood by Tom Ford. Oud Wood is spicier. It has a similar kind of an oud note in it, and it doesn't have the incense or the sweetness that this one has. But I do find that the oud is very similar in its actual scent, and it just, to me, works a lot better, and it also performs really, really well. Price point is also really great on this. It's much cheaper than a Tom Ford Private Blend. Anyways, guys, if you haven't got your nose on this one yet, don't know what you're waiting for. This is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite so far from the house of Kerosene. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.